This is Ros Jones, your business coach with my weekly podcast show, Bold Business Bits, coming to you from Yorkshire. This is where I have a great conversation with a phenomenal female business boss. We share some of the bold stuff they do, lessons they've learnt, adversities they've overcome, and the fun they have. And then I'll be dipping into my toolkit and sharing a top tip. Business can be lonely, so make sure you join us each week and be part of our show. So hello and welcome. This is Ros Jones, Bold Business Bits podcast show. And today I'm joined by Clare Watson, founder of Avenue BD. Hi, Clare. Welcome.
Hello, Ros. Thanks for having me on. It's lovely to be here.
It's a pleasure. So Avenue BD, now I'm sure that everybody asks you this because it's just an intriguing name. So you've got to tell me what it stands for and how did you choose the name of your business?
So when I started, I think I had this romantic notion that I could come up with a name that meant something that was really core to me. And sadly, I was in such a rush to get a name so I could get my first proposal out. I ended up with Avenue BD, Avenue being part of Stanley Avenue, which was where I was born and has a very special place in my heart. But Avenue also because it's a route or a path to solving something. And the BD bit is business development. And so Avenue BD is about this route or path to solving a problem that will, increase your business, develop your business. It probably doesn't quite describe succinctly because it's increasing your business through the use of technology. So maybe I missed an important word there.
I know. It leaves space for further development, doesn't it? You never know. So you don't want to be too restrictive in the name of your business. So I was very excited when you first shared with me the nature of your business. Claire, do you want to share what it is that you offer?
Yeah, so we work with business owners who have identified an opportunity to develop their business generally through technology. So they've identified that they could automate something, or there's a better way they could sell things, or simply that they want to sell things online that they've never done before. And generally, these are people that are doing things for the first time. These are new things. These are entrepreneurial ideas. It's not quite, I want to sell a pair of shoes online, because there's lots of software that can help you with that. And so me and my team work to understand what these ideas are. We help to extract them from people's heads, to form them, to translate them, into a business case. So we will deliver prototypes, really work through, does this idea work? Does it map to a technology solution? Will it work for the user? Will people buy it? So we're helping people to translate that idea into a business case and prototype. And we have had instances where it hasn't passed and actually the idea has stopped. But, it's sad that the project doesn't carry on, but that's proof that, it wasn't right to carry on. And instead of throwing good money after bad, the idea has been put to one side and we've moved forward to something else. Generally, our customers will ask us to stay with them, so to sit as product owners and help deliver that project through. So working with developers to get that product out into the market.
Sounds very exciting. Are you able to share the sort of wackiest idea that you've ever encountered through this work? Or are there too many?
Yeah, there's lots of them. There's been some very interesting conversations recently about, and I think brought up with the pandemic, around afterlife and how we handle that side of things. So, there's so very many different ideas that come up. I speak to people that say, well, every day I refer people just because it's something I do. I'm sure there's a way I can monetize that referral and, maybe make a business out of it. With, a training consultancy I work with, that there is a better way to ensure that people are in the right place with their learning and development. So I think, to be fair, most ideas are interesting more than wacky so far.
It's just amazing how we're always looking for a better way, aren't we? Always looking for a better way. I wonder whether there'll ever be an end to a better way, where it got to the ultimate better way?
I don't think I know of an example where that's ever happened. From the moment I was born to now, technology has, come on leaps and bounds. And we're not just talking software. Look at our cars, look at, the things that are in our houses. Technology has changed everything. I think perhaps, a debate for another day maybe, but one-to-one contact, I'm not so sure that will ever completely go, but there's a lot of investment going into artificial intelligence and robotics, and it feels a bit sci-fi, but that's certainly where the aspirational entrepreneurs are taking us is to that automated world.
Yeah. Have you always been into IT? Are you a geek? Is that an acceptable word? I don't know, actually.
Yeah, it is acceptable. I mean, I'm not somebody who's ever sat and cut code. I have to hold my hands up there. I am somebody that's quite analytical. I like to ask questions and I like to know the answer. And I mean, I've been working with developers for over 16 years, and in my last job, worked with some sensational developers that gave you the time. They gave you the time to explain, well, what does that mean? And it's, it is interesting, and it adds, scope to what you're doing, enjoyment to what you're doing, because every day you're learning something new.
Yeah. And what was the catalyst, or how come you came to set up your business? Because it was after lockdown it started, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So Avenue BD started 2 weeks into lockdown. I had obviously made a decision that I was going to leave my previous job and make a start. And what prompted me, I felt, as we were talking about before, there was a better way. I've been in software development for a long time, and too many people I would talk to, the conversation would start, I went to see this company and they've started building me something, but they haven't got it right. They don't know what they want and they can't finish it. Can you fix it for me? And so for me, that was the catalyst is, well, why are so many people going straight to the code before they've understood what this idea is and where the value is in it? Can they map how money flows through that idea? If you can't, then how are they going to translate to a development team what it is they want? So it's that translation, I think, that I've often felt was missing for a lot of people. And I've seen a lot of people throw a lot of money after something that never made it to market.
Yeah, I can imagine. And there is something about the language, isn't there? Because, well, in my experience, and I haven't really spoken to many for a long time, but in previous lives, I did used to speak with programmers and developers a lot. And they do tend to speak a different language from just business, people in business generally. I don't know if you find that. So are you the sort of the translator, if you like, between those two camps? Is that what you use?
I try to be. So again, as I say, I haven't been a coder, a programmer, but I have worked with a lot of developers over a lot of years and taken the time to understand the terminology and taken the time to understand, the nuances in development and what can and can't be done, or, what the compromises are, I guess. There's that time, cost, quality triangle, isn't there? We can build this for you really quickly, but it'll probably be a bit rubbish.
Yeah, exactly.
Bridging that gap. So it's like, well, as a business, we want to do this and we want a customer to be able to do that. Well, that's fine. But the developer needs to know, well, exactly how does it do that? Because, you need to have a process whereby you can map data to say, if customer does this, computer screen do that, and so on and so forth. So for the business person, they're a specialist. They generally know their domain. They're like, well, you just do this, that, and that. It's like, great. I need to write that down and then explain that to, a developer. So this is what we need to do. This is what I want it to look like. Now, can we think about what it might cost to build?
Yeah, fantastic. And what about, so have you, are there any particular challenges as a woman in your particular area? Have you found?
Not personally. I don't think I've ever found myself sitting there thinking, oh, I'm a woman and I'm getting ignored, or, people aren't taking me seriously. I think I've been very fortunate, or blind, it's very possible it was the latter. I mean, I've faced adversity in different ways for sure. I mean, many challenges, and I think back to some of my early days in management, and where I've definitely made boo-boos there, where it's that, I need to be in control of everything, and I've got to report this to that and that person, and tell the board this and that. And perhaps it's a mistake many people make. It's certainly one I made, was that actually, thinking that I could just run things in my style rather than getting to know the style of everyone else in the team first.
I think we've all been there. It's like some of us learn quicker than others, I think. Yeah, definitely. So, and in terms of where you're going to take your business, finding a better way to do your business, what's your aspiration? Is it early, or have you got this big goal that you want to take your business to, or is it a bit early to think about it yet? What's your plans?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. In fact, we've got a business strategy day coming up in July.
Excellent.
with my associates. Yeah, to have that kind of conversation. I think what I'm experiencing, or one of my biggest challenges right now, is scalability. How does this become something that's bigger than me and my current associates? How do we get ourselves into a position where we can offer this service to anybody, and so that's my biggest challenge, and that is my goal, is that we can provide a service that all businesses can tap into. There's a lot of businesses out there, mostly your enterprises, your big banks and tech companies, that will have innovation teams. They'll have people ideating all the time and doing proof of concepts. And when you're a smaller business, you don't necessarily have that kind of budget, or to run alongside with that. And so having a remote team that you can bring in for special scenarios gives the smaller company that competitive advantage without the year-long cost that goes with having a big innovation team.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think even one of the things I find with smaller business, I work with SMEs and smaller businesses, and one of the things is that they tend to be so busy working in the business and can get completely wrapped up in what's going on in the business, that they don't give themselves the headspace just to be able to think differently, not to look up and think differently at all. I worked with a client who'd been in business 20 years without taking a holiday for more than a week, because he couldn't trust his team to do that. And it's just we can get sucked into this pattern. So I think that I personally find that very interesting proposition that you have there, in terms of, in a way, forcing them. Like, you've got to stop, because you've got to think differently to survive, really. And I think that's been really, really obvious, I guess, in an essential in this last year of the pandemic, isn't it? That we've got to think to be able to adapt quicker.
And I think a lot of people will have been forced to do so. And I'm hoping that for those people, it can then continue for them. That actually the being forced into something sometimes can put you into a mindset that's like, oh God, why didn't I think like this before? Why didn't I try new things? But I mean, it is very easy to just get caught up in the day to day. I've certainly been in positions before where, you're running a smaller company. You don't feel like you have enough people to do everything. And yet you have this fear that you don't have enough money to bring more people in, and end up in this, circle of, okay, well, you go and do the selling. Oh, now you've sold. Okay, now you need to go and do the delivery. And before you're just in this, cycle.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So it will be a leap of faith for a lot of people. And I guess that's where we are different, is we're not going out selling a product. We're selling a service, and this service is about, is there an opportunity for you to develop a product that will either make you and your business more efficient and earn you more money, or and or, something that you can license to other people, and it will make their businesses more efficient and earn you money without doing anything.
How do people find out about you, Claire?
Most of my opportunities at the minute are through networking and referrals. So that's really positive. Hands up, first year of my own business, I definitely am displaying weaknesses in social media and my media attention. So there's lots more work to do there. But I think that brings us back to when you talk about the bigger goal is, how do we make this scalable? And, to be fair, using the networking opportunities, the media, the advertising much better will throw me into a position, hopefully, that is, I need to work this out quickly because we've got 6 projects.
Yes, exactly. Yes. What about your website? Where do people find you? If anyone's listening and want to track you down on your website?
So it's nice and easy. It's avenuebd.co.uk.
Okay, that's simple. So we need to check you out on there and get in touch, I guess. So I think it's the bravest thing to do to walk away from a career and just to follow your passion or your ideas. So this is a question I like to ask my guests on this podcast show. What if I was somebody just standing before you now? What would your number one, and I'm thinking about setting up a business, I'm going to walk away from a job, set up a business. What would be your number one piece of advice, Claire, to me? I'll put you on the spot here, but.
Yeah. Number one piece of advice. Remember that you're doing it for a reason. Remember to enjoy it.
Yes.
I think it's very easy to stress yourself out that you're maybe not doing enough, or you're not doing it quick enough, or you're not where you hoped you'd be. Yet every measurement you start off with is a guess because you've not done this before. So I think, yes, you need to hold yourself accountable and perhaps work with other people to hold yourself accountable. And I know that's something you do very well. But also, do give yourself the space to think, I am moving forward. Remember that it can be little steps. It doesn't always have to be super big ones.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, great advice indeed. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Claire. And it's been delightful. Better way of doing things. I love that. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Roz. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
In our conversation, Claire mentioned that scalability is the biggest challenge in her business right now, which I thought was really interesting. I don't think many people in business think about that right from the start because Claire has only recently started her business. It is really important. Stephen Covey, in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he talks about, in his habit number 2, is start with the end in mind. So when you're setting up your business, start with the end in mind. What do you want your business to look like? And when you actually take some time to think about that, to visualize it, to draw it out, it makes scaling up so much more easy. So you start with the end in mind. You draw, what do you want your business to look like? How many branches has it got? What's the organizational chart look like? So when you think about that, it saves unpicking your business later. So it's easy just to dive straight into your business and start working to get the money in. But without that planning ahead, it just becomes more difficult later on down the line to scale up. So with your blueprint, if you like, it's easy then to get cracking. And as you start growing your business, setting out the processes, putting in the systems, that will make it easier for you then to train up whoever comes in, whoever you recruit into your business, to train them up to deliver in the way that you want them to deliver. So I think that was really important and very insightful of Claire to be thinking like that right from the start. Another thing that I found is an easy temptation in business is just to dive straight in, work to the detriment of everything else in your business and your life. So I've been there myself. I've worked with people who have done that too. And as a result, I developed a framework called the 5 Principles of Business Wellbeing. This is about growing your business in a balanced way so that you look after yourself and the people around you and everything else in your life. And if you follow these principles, scaling your business becomes so much easier. The 5 principles are, briefly, number 1 is building relationships, which I think is the most critical thing in business and in life, having relationships, strong relationships. So building relationships with your prospects so that they become your clients, building relationships with your customers so they come back to you, they stay with you, they're loyal to you, they tell everybody else about you, with your suppliers, with your team, and with your family and friends especially, of course. Building that tribe of people around you is really important. Principle number 2 is about personal well-being. So you have to look after your own personal well-being, your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, because if you aren't working at optimum level, if you're not in peak condition, then your business will suffer as a result. Principle number 3 is learn and grow. So the easiest way to grow your business is to grow yourself first. And the easiest way to grow yourself is to learn new stuff and to implement it, of course. So reading books or listening to books, having an open mind, having a mentor, going to webinars, all these good things about learning new stuff and implementing them gives you lots of great ideas and helps you to grow yourself before you grow your business. Number 4 is having an abundant mindset, abundance, which is a great word, isn't it, don't you think? Abundance is about knowing there's plenty out there. There's enough for everybody. It's about not being afraid of the competition. It's about being willing to collaborate, being grateful, being willing to give as well as to receive. Having an abundant mindset is really important. And then principle number 5 is have fun, because what's it all about if you can't have fun? So we've got to, business can be tough and lonely sometimes, or all the time sometimes, all the time. But if we can't have fun, then what's the point? So what's fun gets done, we say. So if something's difficult, try making it into a game. So having fun every day is really, really important. So they're the 5 principles of business wellbeing, and I hope that's useful for you. And I hope you've enjoyed our show today. This is Ros Jones. Please subscribe to our show and look forward to having you here next time. Bye for now. This has been your Ros Jones Bold Business Bits podcast show. If you'd like any further information about anything we've discussed today, please just get in touch. Go to businesscoachingyorkshire.co.uk. Please join me again next week when I'll be speaking with another phenomenal female business boss with bold business bits. And remember to subscribe to my show. Thanks for listening.